We are live everywhere. Yeah, let's get on it. Let's get on it. Greetings and salutations, GCPR. Greetings and salutations, YouTube. Greetings and salutations, TikTok. It's your boy, TNathan. It's 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. It's 11 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. And you know what time that means. That means that if T Nathan's here, it's time for conversations with T Nathan. Greetings, salutations. How's everybody doing tonight? Yep, let's talk about it. 15, 10, 15, 15. Yes, and Jane. Yes, greetings, salutations. Let's talk about it. I'll give y'all a chance to come in, get yourself situated. Yeah, I know it's hard, it's hard. Come on in, baby. Take your clothes off. Come on in. All right. Uh, what's up, Kate? What's up? It's T Nathan. We're here. We can give y'all a chance to catch up while I check out.
What's saying? Tania Miller has been cast as Jocasta in Vision Quest. And I have to say, this casting is crazy. I love it. And before the hate starts, yeah. So just shut up before you start. I mean, if you don't know, Tania Miller is actually British as well. So I mean, it's gonna be nice seeing her and Vision. You know, I want to see their chemistry. I feel like it's gonna be kind of crazy, especially because her and Paul Bettany are both British too. So this is gonna be a different.
Yeah. Greetings, salutations. Did y'all hear all that? Did y'all hear all that in the background? Yeah, yeah. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Had to. Dun dun dun. Yes. Okay. Fully charged. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Uh, yeah, there we go. Greetings, salutations, good evening, everyone. It is 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. And yeah, I'm simulcasting my radio show across my social media platforms. And it seems like I can say social media platforms because if I say the one that starts with how are you doing and how are your tubes, it will get, my TikTok doesn't like that and it will get flagged. So yes, if you want to watch me here, watch me there, watch me anywhere, we're all good with it. How you all doing tonight? Hope everybody is well. Hope somebody told you they loved you today. And I hope you told somebody at a 20 at a 24-hour Matt, but modding on YouTube. All right, Jay, let me know. Let me know what it sounds like over there, and if any comments come through that I need to know about. Yeah, because for some reason I haven't worked out the bugs on the commenting section being on my screen without being on that app that Jay is on right now. So greetings. Ah, ah, I see someone here I hadn't seen in a while. Greetings and salutations. Did you get my video on the false information, the misinformation um, that I made? Yes, of course, I make videos on misinformation. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Not really. We have a lot to talk about tonight, but I want to open before I get into this one big beautiful build thing. One thing. So if you're following, if y'all remember, y'all have been, those who really follow me, you all have been in my lives before, and you all know that I've been reading the transcripts every day of whatever his name is this week's trial, Sean Combs. Um, and I said that I did not feel like the government proved their racketeering case against him. That was the thing I said. I said, I do not feel like the government proved their racketeering case against him. And sure enough, the jury came down today. They said they have reached a partial verdict. And that partial verdict was they have findings. I don't know what the findings are on the charges involving spectral trafficking and of Cassie Ventura and of an unidentified woman named Jane and the um, transportation for the purpose of P2tion in both cases. They found they got verdicts on those cases, but they did not have, they said they are hung on the RICO or the racketeering charges. So it was so funny. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because they sent the judge the note and they said that. And the judge, after meeting was up, I expected the judge to just give them um, an Allen charge and should send them back in there. But it's kind of what he did. And he just told him that you all go back in there, you listen to the majority, y'all keep an open mind, and then y'all give me a decision here. They went back in there and told the judge, yeah, we're finished deliberating for the day. We're going home. Just thought that was so funny that after he told them that, they were back there about 10 minutes and they said, we're finished deliberating for the day. We'll take it up tomorrow. Um, this is my first time on all day. What's up? What's up? So I just thought that was funny, their response. And I still stand by the fact that two things can be true at the same time. I believe that Sean Combs is a piece of shit and should be jumped thrown into an active volcano. Um, that hasn't changed. But I also think that they haven't, the feds have not done a good job of proving a RICO conspiracy against him. On order or, and operating a criminal enterprise. No, and that carries with it a life sentence. Do you understand that? It carries up to a life sentence for that. And I say they didn't do a good job because even though you don't have to indict somebody else for conspiracy, you usually need to have them in some kind of testimonial capacity in the trial. And nobody testified during that case that was being charged or being implemented in the conspiracy to do all the things that they said he did in pursuit of his weird, weird sexual habits. They didn't produce anybody to say that. And when they, especially when I saw that they had dismissed predicates in certain in the RICO charge, people were talking about they dismissed charges. And I told them they didn't dismiss charges. He only had 5 charges. They dismissed some of the predication under the RICO charge, and one of those was that he kidnapped Capricorn Carter. I mean, sorry, Capricorn Clark. Yeah, with the names throw me off sometimes. Luckily, I have a good memory. But names like Capricorn Clark, they dismissed the charge that he was charged with kidnapping her because yeah, it's kind of hard to say you kidnap somebody when your predication of kidnapping goes that you left the office with them in a vehicle. They took you to Kid Cudi's house, and then then the bodyguard and Sean Combs left the vehicle with the keys in it and running with you in there, and you feared for your life and safety so much that you just stayed there and also continued to work for him for 6 years. Yeah, I wasn't buying that either. And I heard all the arguments about what people do and what abused people do in certain situations. That you just started working for him. And yeah, no, I'm sorry. Call me what you want to, but I wasn't buying. That is not the way. That's not a rational thought to follow. And if you're just that irrational, then there's something wrong in that equation. And Kid Cudi, after listening or reading his testimony in the transcript and reading the cross examination, I said, how did you all get to the fact that Sean Combs was the one responsible for firebombing your car? And then when I saw the car and when I saw the pictures and we saw the damage that was done, I'm thinking this car was a forlorn fire. There's some burnt patches on the seat, but you know, I don't know. So I didn't buy that either. I didn't buy that either, that that was the case in point. So, yes, like I say, two things can be true at the same time. I don't think the government proved its case when it comes to the racketeering and the RICO charges. And I'm kind of interested in seeing what the jury decided on the other charges. Now, the other charges carry 10 to 15 years. Sexual, the sexual charges, trafficking charges of Cassie and Jane, they carry 15 years, and transportation for the act of P2 carries 10 years. So, yeah, but the first top charge is a life sentence. So, and it depends on what the judge feels. So that's where we are on that. I am thinking Diddy will be go free and 8 week trial. They should have not happened. I don't think he'll go free, and I'm gonna tell you why. I blame, and then I want people in my comment section talking about the DA of New York should be tried for bringing these charges. Stupid. These are state charges. The district attorney of New York, Manhattan, did not bring these charges. These are state charges brought by the feds, and there's no DA that brought these charges. I lament the fact that a DA could have brought these charges of domestic abuse if, in the fact, the statute of limitation wouldn't have run out on the domestic abuse that we witnessed in that tape against Cassie Ventura. So let's just stop that. Just stop. That's why I say I hate misinformation and I hate people talking who don't know what they're talking about. So these are federal charges. Now, yes, the people quoting the feds track records of always getting their man, usually because in like most cases, people take plea deals. If we break it down to people who have money, the feds also are very specific about just they don't bring just marginalized frick charges most of the time, but sometimes they do. But I feel like most the we're gonna see a guilty verdict in at least one of those. It's either all or none. Well, no, take the back. It's either two or none. Because at the end of the day, like I say, I think they're going to hang on the RICO charges. I think just because of how long Cassie spent on the stand and because of the videotape. Now, there's one thing that they did get to see that I didn't get to see. The jury got to see that we didn't get to see. We just read about in transcript. And that is the videos of the freak offs. Can you imagine being on a jury and having to watch point corner? Oh, having to watch corn because that's basically what the videos of the freak offs were. That they got to watch those videos. How many did they have to watch? I wonder. Because I would have been like, can I check out after the first 20 seconds of it? I get it. I get it. And I didn't even, I think that was sensationalized because there was no reason for us to have to watch videos of that kind of behavior. I'm like, and listen, I'm not a prude. I'm not a prude. I just don't need other people. I just don't need to watch other people do it. But also, you testified to what it was. There was no argument about what it was. So I didn't know. But they saw that. So it might have been something in there they saw or heard that we didn't see and hear in the transcripts. I doubt it, but um, I wish it was just described. Yeah, I would have been on the jury and say, yeah, I'm gonna, I'm a, can I sit this one out? Right. And that's another thing. Where are all these people? I remember, maybe it's just me, but I remember all these people who was like, this trial is going to show you all these superstars involved in these freak offs. And I said, I know people don't listen to me, but I said, that doesn't make sense. I always said that didn't make sense. Always didn't. I said it didn't make sense because there were people like Denzel Washington at parties that left, and I said I didn't see the party turning that way. And it turns out we were right. It wasn't the party that turned that way. So all these people that wanted Jay-Z and Beyonce to be involved in it, or all these other prominent black stars to be involved in it, because you all closet hate yourselves and hate black success. I know. Another conversation for another day. I know all of those people are quiet now because we found out that freak offs were nothing more than Cassie and Sean Combs involved with male escorts who said they weren't male escorts. Punisher said he wasn't a male escort. He was just a dancer that happened to get paid for Smex. I was like, how? I was like, who called him as a witness? I was looking at that when I read the transcript. I said, who thought that was a good idea to call him as a witness to say you had Smex workers? But this man said he was just a dancer who just happened to be paid to have this sexual encounter, and he said he didn't even know who P Diddy was or Cassie was at the time. I was like, somebody get him off stand. Get him off the stand. Yeah. So it was that. Um, I just found that hard to swallow, hard to believe. And like I said, I believe that Sean Combs should be thrown into an active volcano. But the rational part of me that looks at if I had to go off the state proving their case, I was like, all they proved was that what we already knew that he was a horrible human being. But here's the thing. I think that we will get a guilty verdict in the Cassie stuff not because the state says such a good charge claim of proving their case, but because he did the videotape of him beating Cassie in that hotel. Yeah, it's hard to get around that, but that doesn't, but that was not charged behavior. That was, I hate to say it, I understand people don't like it when I say that. That was a case, that was instances of domestic abuse, but he's not being charged. There's no federal domestic abuse charge. That would have been a state charge. And when you paid $100,000 to buy the video and the statute of limitation is run out on that, yeah, that's not the case. And that was, I felt was, the part that I didn't understand. I was like, you gave immunity to the guard to acknowledge that he was paid $100,000 for this video, and you couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't have charged him either. That's why I didn't understand the immunity thing. The timing is expired. It has expired. So you gave him immunity, but you gave him immunity from civil prosecution. That's what it was. I get that. So the video will be damning. The video is damning in the way that it does show that he's a domestic abuser, but it doesn't show anything that they charged him with in those other four charges or in the RICO charge. Yeah, I know. Two things can be true at the same thing, at the same time. And people don't do good with that. Because I also see people in my comment section defending, talking, oh, let him go. He's fuck that. I mean, I don't. It's the system I'm critiquing, not the fact that I believe Sean Combs should be thrown in an active volcano. I'm just critiquing the system, and because we know how the system works, and yeah, fuck that. Um, I have a vested interest in the system, seeing how the system works, but I'm not going, and because I don't want to be the person that's like, well, he deserved it. So if the system bent itself over to find him guilty, then that's all right. Once you start letting people take trash out your home, then you're going to be surprised when they show up and take something out that you don't think is trash. So there is that. They're going to find him guilty based upon something he isn't charged with. And that's the problem. That is the problem. It was up to the state to prove their case and whether we like him and whether we like him or not. Right. And that is the truth of the matter. We don't like him. We do think like I say, two kings can be true to the time. If they would have said, hey, TNathan, what do you want to do with Sean Combs? I say, I got an active volcano and let's throw him into. But then we all know that. But I wouldn't be throwing him into the active volcano for what the state charged him with. I would be throwing him into the active volcano for what he actually did. And here's another thing. Where's the gun charge? It's in the RICO Act, I know, but why isn't it separate? The gun charges, the guns that he had filed off the identification numbers from, that's low hanging fruit. That's low hanging fruit. Those carry 5 years. That's low hanging fruit. But nope. The burden of proof is on the state, and that's what people don't understand. It's not. That's why you all know the defense called no witnesses. The defense didn't call any witnesses because it felt the state hadn't met its burden, and they were smart because if they would have put Sean Combs on the stand, his egotistical ass would have fucked up the whole case. They would have, even though it wouldn't have. I say fucked up the whole case, but it would have fucked it up because I think people would have liked him even less if he had testified. Even if he would have testified, the jury would have liked him even less. And I'm not sure that the jury doesn't dislike him. That's another thing. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Because if the jury disliked him, Rico would have been an easy find for them. But unfortunately, jury being split on Rico is not following the law. Yes, it is. Because you can't, you do one thing under our jurisdictional system, whether I like it or not, the idea of the jury system is golden. The idea of a panel of your peers pouring over the evidence and coming to a agreement. That sounds so much like communal West Africa, because that's exactly what it was like. A jury of your peers was your community. If you did something in violation of the community and African cultures, then it was only two punishments. If it warranted enough for them to meet a community meeting over your actions, There were two punishments. You were either excommunicated or put out of the community for life. You couldn't return back under penalty of death, or you were put to death. That was it. If it was something that bad. So in the instance, it's I like the system. I do. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't trust the intellectual level of most Americans. When our reading level is on a sixth to eighth grade level, our comprehension level is on a eighth grade level. I don't trust the comprehension and intelligence of most Americans that serve on juries to follow the preponderance of evidence. I don't. I say put him in, but right. I'm with you, goddess, but I also don't want to have. I wouldn't hide behind why. I'm like, if this is the system that we are told is the system if you outline these reasons, but you don't prove those reasons, then just admit we will be doing it in spite of those reasons. And as a black man in America who has been in the federal system, I understand that. I understand that because and I'm not saying this. You go look it up yourself, but yeah, my people just in my case they just believe the system. And I'm not saying that I was innocent. Never said I was innocent. But the sentences was disproportionate to what other people got for the same sentences that I did. The same sentences. And it was, my lawyer brought that up, which is why that helped me on appeal. It did help me on appeal. But at the time, it didn't because the judge still disproportionately sentenced me. And that was rooted in the fact that I was black. It was rooted in the fact that I was black. So I'm talking about the system. I'm putting it out. I'm pretending like I don't know Sean Combs. If I just came into this and listened to the jury, as a member of the jury, and just listened to the facts as presented, then it would be different. Now, they're hoping because they showed that damn video more than once. And I feel like they're hoping that the system will get what it wants based upon the interpretation of those videos. And those videos, in and of themselves, unless you can show me something in a video where I'm forced to watch a freak off when a man, I hope I didn't have to. I feel sorry if you had to watch the part where he puts the lotion on its skin, and I'm not talking about lotion in a bottle. I'm talking about the other kind of lotion that comes out. Yeah, sorry, but the idea of did they have to watch him put the lotion on his chest that came out of one of these male escorts that came out of Cassie? Yeah, all that. I could have just the description was enough for me. Stop it, Petra. You're laughing at me. And I'm not a prude. I am not a prude. Anybody will tell you I'm not a prude. But I'm just I realized that I thought I was, you think you're like you good, you got everything covered, you got all the bases covered in the SMEX area, and then you hear some stuff like this and you be like, yeah, no, bridge too far. If somebody showed up and said that's what they needed me to do, I'm like, yeah, no. Not only not only am I leaving, I am blocking your access to me from here on out in life. Yeah, they're just certain. It's like it's like people get into race play. I know, just get into race play, and they be like, "Oh yeah, come what? No, no, we ain't doing none of that. We ain't doing none of that. Yeah, no, we're not doing none of that. Get out of my house. Number one, yeah, you only forget you knew me. Forget you knew me. You mean the white? Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, all that's off the table. Call me what you want to. I'll be vanilla, but call me what you want to. That is not in my repertoire. Yep, no, that was just, I realized this case have made me realize that, yeah, nope, not doing any of that. Deal breakers. There are some deal breakers. Get out of my comment section, Petra. I don't even know. I'm not exactly sure I know what that means in a sense of term that you meant it, right? Because I'm gonna, yeah. Anyway, that's for after dark conversation. Well, it's after dark. Okay, that's for a after midnight conversation one day. We'll talk about water sports and my my idea of what is acceptable as a water sport and what is not acceptable as a water sport. Yeah, and I'll give you a clue. I'm I'm gonna give you a clue like this. If I piss on my hand accidentally, I'm taking a shower, and it's my piss. I'm just gonna go tell you. I'm just saying, if I piss on my hand accidentally, I'm taking a shower. If someone else piss on me, I'm fighting. I'm mad at my aim, and I can't beat him up. So you're taking a shower. Uh, my hair would go straight. Listen, so that lets you know. Somebody said, "Can I?" I might have to hold myself back from punching somebody dead in the face for saying, asking me that. But see, with me, you know what you get. I put all those things out there in the conversation. Listen, listen. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If any in the course of this relationship, you ask me something strange like this, I'm gonna forget I know you. Yep. I'm gonna stay away from that. Yeah, we're gonna move right along. Move right along. So that's my synopsis. Tomorrow we'll get the jury back into deliberation, and we'll see what I was right about and what I was wrong about. I just don't think they proved Rico, but hey, I've seen there have been other cases where I feel like the jury didn't go with what was actually proved, and they actually went with their feelings on the case. And if we're going to have a system where we go on our feelings, let's just admit that we're going off our feelings. Stop with this intellectual gaslighting where we did a preponderance of the evidence and the evidence clearly shown. No, it didn't. You just don't like him. And you have good reason not to like him. Well, you should have just charged him with something that was rooted in not liking him. Yep. That's what the bathroom sink soap and water is for. Wash your hand. That's so crazy. Yeah, it is. It is. But there are just certain things that no, can't do. All right. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about this big, beautiful bill that did what I said and passed the Senate and now is back in the House with a couple of revisions. And you remember last night we talked about the difference between Medicaid and Medicare. And I just want to talk about some things. And I guess I'll make a video, but I have a question. And I would like for you all to start asking this question to people who are still saying this this many days after November the 5th or even after January the 20th. People are always saying, you'll tell them something or you'll try to talk about something that's happening, and they say, well, they voted for this. They voted for this. They voted for this. Y'all voted for this. This is number one. Who the fuck you think you're talking to? I'm the one talking about it. You think this is what I voted for? And number two, are you all tired yet of saying that? Are you ready to grow up? Are we ready to get to the adult portion of what's next? Because you sound like little kids that are repeating the same thing over and over because you don't know what to do about it. Y'all finished with that yet? Are you finished lamenting the failures that you all made on November the 5th? I'm sorry. Are you all finished lamenting it? Are you finished telling people that you voted for this? Because I'm gonna tell you who didn't vote for this. My grandmother didn't vote for this. The elderly people that are going to be impacted from our communities by cutting of Medicaid, or the people that are in our community that are going to be adversely affected by their basically their healthcare insurance being cut. They didn't vote for this. They didn't vote for this. The people like my relatives in Mississippi who live in rural areas and they're going to be impacted in their health care because of their being cut off and Medicaid being cut. They didn't vote for this. So are you all fucking over that yet? Or is that the answer you all gonna have for everything? Or are we finished with that? Because if we all are still there, then we're not making any progress. Yes, they voted for it. But let's talk about the people who didn't vote for it. Are we just gonna turn our back and do nothing? That's what I was talking about when I was at the protest, and people like, "Why are you at the protest?" Because my grandmother is entitled to her Social Security. My grandmother's entitled to her Social Security. I don't care who voted for it. I'm telling you, my grandma, these are the choices you all have. Either my grandmother's entitled to her Social Security, or I start wearing a shiesty and coming into your neighborhood and taking her Social Security. What? Then everybody wants to talk about I'm violent. No, you all are just saying about what she didn't vote for. What, but she didn't vote for this. But you all are perfectly fine with using that as the excuse for why y'all not doing anything. And my grandmother needs her Social Security. People in my family who have to make choices between food and medicine. Yeah, I'm gonna solve all that. I'm gonna solve all that. And then your problem's going to be like, and I'm gonna say, well, they didn't vote for this, so I thought you, since you all wasn't gonna talk about it, I'd do something about it. So now that I've worn a shiesty and gone in your neighborhood, and I don't pawn shit. I'm not coming in to break in there to pawn shit. I'm taking all your money, taking money. So you better put your money in the bank. Then your problem's gonna be, oh well, you don't understand. No, I don't understand why you're not doing anything. So this is what we do. Because when it comes down to it, we're talking about children. We're talking about disabled people. We're talking about people who have to choose between making 20 more dollars on their job and losing their Medicaid. Oh, this is what we're really talking about. We're really talking about $20. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why people are still saying that. I don't understand. I read all almost 1,000 pages of this revised version of this bill. I already read the Senate, the House version, then I read the Senate version. And I say Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, this is the telling part of how we know this bill is fucked up. When the only way they could get her vote is if they made an exception for Alaska, because people don't realize Alaska is one of the states that has the highest percentage rate of welfare recipients in the country. They made a cutout for Alaska. So it's not good enough for Alaska, but it's good enough for the rest of the country. Alaska is also from majority white, by the way. Yeah. What is messed up is the court will still make money if they arrest you. I worked too hard and I stopped working, and I be damned if they touch my money. I'm just saying, corporations, yeah. I haven't even got to the corporations yet. And you all remember the conversation we had last night when PZ was in here, or Dark Knight, I think, yeah, Dark Knight, and he was talking about, his friend made $150,000 a year and they were struggling. And we finally got to the fact that he acknowledged, no, they're not struggling, they're just complaining. There's a difference between struggling and complaining. So we're talking about the struggle. And when I want you all to stop saying that. I want you all to start realizing it sounds insensitive at this point, and it's just an excuse of those who are doing nothing to continue doing nothing, by thinking that the people who are going to suffer the most are the people that voted for it, but the people who are going to suffer the disproportionate amount is the people who didn't vote for it. So, yeah, that is a thing. And that is the reality that people are not willing to face. What's up, GCPR? This is what's happening in the United States right now. The United States Republican Senate it was a 50-50 vote. And it was 50-50. And of course, Vance came in and sided with the president. So that's how it got passed. But understand, this reconciliation bill, the part they did put in, like a tax on renewable energies. Let's talk about some things people might not know. They put a tax on renewable energy. What are renewable energies? Solar, wind, water. You put a tax on the safer forms of energy production in this country. You put a tax on, you raised the tax on it. You got rid of the tax breaks that the Biden administration had given these industries to spurn growth in these industries so we could get away from fossil fuels. You took them out. When they talk about, oh, the massive tax cuts that are going to affect the middle class because we're going to reinstitute the tax cuts of, we're going to extend the Trump tax cuts of 2017. Okay, what does that look like? Let's look at the numbers. You're going to extend the tax cuts of 2017, and you're going to allow the rich, the top 1%, to get a tax break. And then you're going to pay for that tax break by cutting $1 trillion out of Medicaid and Medicare. And you're telling me that, oh, I will I might get a tax break of $600 for the year, but the wealthy are going to get a $60,000 tax break, and then you turn around and tell me it's about percentages. You're going to give them a tax break on you giving them a tax break on more than I'm making a year. You're literally giving them a tax break on more than I make for a year. And I haven't even got to the fact that yes, the shelters that I and other people work at are going to lose funding. And we're really looking now. We're going to use funding. So I might not even have a job next year because we might not have enough to fund the shelter. And if it comes down to it, then we're gonna what? See, do you understand that? That we are looking, you're looking at these programs. We were talking about the Department of Education cuts that are going to lead to summer school lunch programs being cut out. We're going to lead to shelters like mine losing the low percent of federal funding as they did get. That is just enough to keep us our head above water because, of course, donations are donating to the homeless, those who happen to be homeless or those in need, is not a cycle unless we can, make it performative. And the thing about it, Rain, is that the people who do donate the most to these causes are the poor themselves. It's not the ultra rich. Yeah, they might have a fundraiser every now and then, like a certain football team does, and they donate a lot of money for the whole state, and they distribute it. And I'm not gonna say it doesn't help, but it's negotiable. It's negotiable. It doesn't meet the standard of how those who live in low middle class and poor sections give more. They give more. It's the rank shittiness of this. It's literally taken from the least to give to the undeserved. Right. I don't got a lot to give, but I give what I can. Exactly, right? And that's the thing. We wind up financing those people who are just we're the ones who are doing the work. We're the ones who are doing the work, but they say $600. We should lie. We should be jumping up and down about it when you're literally giving a break to somebody who already makes 20 to 30 times more than I do. Then you give them a break that encompasses my whole salary for the year. My whole salary for the year. As a matter of fact, more than my whole salary for the year. Yeah, let's be realistic. This is why you Democrats should have not given away all our money to immigrants. Bitch, get out of my life. I ain't even got time to deal with you right now. You sound stupid. Your mama dresses you funny, and get the fuck out of my life. Try that. Try that one. Yes, intellectual conversation is welcome. Stupid assery is not. Thank you. Yeah. Always going to run in here and talk about what Democrats gave away. We're talking about what's happening right now. And you make the mistake of thinking I'm a Democrat. We're talking about what's happened right now. Go Trump, go to jail. Go to jail. Oh, listen, listen. They just create more accounts and come back and think they're onto something. And people are like, oh, we're not trying to read an echo chamber. Shut the fuck up. You sound stupid too. Don't we're not trying to create. I'm not trying to give voice to people who've always had voice to say the same things that are derogatory and transient when it comes to people who are actually struggling. They say that until GMA and mom is out on the curb stop. They're still Amy. They don't have the emotional um, wherewithal to know the difference. You make shoes for a living. One guy buys two pair, another will buy 200,000 pair if he gets 20% off. Would you make a deal? You make shoes for a living. One guy buys two pair, another guy buys 2,000 pairs if he gets 20% off. Would you make the deal? Would I make the deal based on what? The guy who has access to buy the shoes for 20% off, and the guy who has access to buy two pair of shoes. That I don't understand what the question is. That's business. That's business. Yes, he gets a deal. He's probably a retailer. He's gonna sell them and make a more profit anyway. But see, your now let me tell you the drawback in your parallel, what you're trying to say based on the discussion I'm having. The fact is that the guy who buys two pair of shoes could afford to buy two pair of shoes. The guy who bought 2,200 pairs of shoes could afford to buy 200 pairs of shoes. Their life is not dependent upon them shoes or having access to them. And those shoes are not a substitute for health care, medical care, food. They're not a substitute. Because when we get to the point where we are making parallels, of stupid ass parallels that have nothing to do with what we're actually talking about, that's called whataboutism. And I'm not whataboutism now. Now, you want to make that parallel when I'm talking about people who are trying to buy food or medicine to live with, and should they get a discount? You don't want to know my answer to that, because I say they should get it free, because healthcare should be free. Now, if that's the argument you want to talk. You're talking about tax breaks. I'm talking about tax breaks that affect safety programs. If I got that 20%, if I gave them a 20% discount and I wind up taking that 20% discounts from my workers and their ability to fade and their family, then he doesn't get a discount. He doesn't get a discount. See, you all come up, y'all think y'all be on to something. You really think your intelligence outpaces mine. You think you be on to something with these metaphors and these hypothetical situations that do not address the situations that my dog could break down. Bella over here on my bed could have broke that down, because we're not talking about just giving a discount on your profit as a business. We're talking about where you're going to take that discount from when you're dealing with a system that has to allow people access to food and medicine. Rich people hire people. So much. So what? Or do you mean to tell me? Let me get this right. You mean to tell me they're not hiring people now, even without the cuts that are about to come? You just gonna tell you? Trust me, you don't have to explain capitalism to me. I know how it works, and I also know how to dismantle it. Rich people hire people. As a matter of fact, small businesses hire people even if they're not rich. The largest driver of this economic of our employee economic system is small businesses, not large businesses. Mom and pop hiring people. I know, like I say, y'all think y'all be onto something. And usually these arguments you probably meet the black guy in these things that don't know anything, and they let you make these arguments and think you're onto something because they can't dismantle them. I can dismantle your arguments in my sleep. You said free food, nothing is free, somebody pays for everything. Am I in the twilight zone? Am I in another portion of the twilight zone? I said if left up to me, that's what I said. If left up to me, I would make sure they had access. If I had to take that 20% discount from the workers who had to have access to food and medical care to give that person a discount, I wouldn't do it, because that would be taking away from their ability to provide food and health care for their families. Yeah, that's the thing about eidetic memory. It works. We are now entering the twilight zone. Say, y'all come in here and you make these arguments for the super rich. We're talking about the super rich also. You came in here, you make these conversations for the super rich. Like somehow that if Jeff Bezos, if this bill didn't pass and take $1 trillion from medical care, that all of a sudden he was going to stop hiring Amazon workers. You all make the argument like the super rich don't depend on their workers to support their lifestyle, while they pay them pennies on the dollars they make. This is what you act like. You come in here defending the rich. That this bill is not going to make Jeff Bezos any less rich. He's still going to be able to throw $50 million weddings in Venice. Didn't even throw $50 million wedding in the United States, in the country that he, if we say in America first, he could have spent the 50 million dollars in the United States on people that could have been. But no, 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 no. No, no. We go to Venice and spend $50 million, and then Americans like you are talking about that the rich need their money so they can spend it anywhere they want to. Yeah, yeah. A middle class person in US is considered rich in many parts of the world. And the thing about it, if they were living in another part of the world, they would that would be relevant. But we're talking about the middle class in the United States under an economic system that provides that for the middle class. That economic system might not exist in these states where you're talking move countries where you're talking about moving to. Yeah. Is there a branch of the Johnson County um, dryer board in Dubai? Like I say, you all are used to making these elementary ass arguments with people who don't know how to break them down. But at the end of the day, they're not considered rich in those other countries because they're not in those other countries. We're in the United States. Middle class is middle class. And if I move it to somewhere else, am I moving the whole structure that makes them middle class with me? If I'm not, that's an invalid argument. It's called straw manning. Next, I can do this all day. All day. I make Captain America look like he on the playground. But keep going. And I'm not doing this for your benefit. I'm doing this for the benefit of people who follow me, for them to see how I dissect you. I want them to know. I want them to understand the weakness of your argument, because you don't run into the Cash App. What are you taking donations on this stream? Helping those who happen to be homeless and the students that need books, and that I do. And you can watch. Are you donating? Are you donating? See, I live in a system that it shouldn't have to be that I have to take donations to help those who happen to be homeless, because we should live in a society where our government takes care of that. But because they don't, and you can go to my page and you can go to the tab helping those who happen to be homeless and see where these donations go. So you asking a question, I gave you an answer. Now what are you gonna do about it? Think I'm taking this up for me? Yeah, you think my nails wouldn't look like this if I wasn't spending my own money to do this right now. I would have my nails done, but I couldn't have my nails done because we have a meal coming up for those who happen to be homeless on the 3rd. Do you want to donate? Do you want to donate? Have you seen the ads on here on the Sudan Help donate stuff? No, I have a feeling. Well then, not sending your money will shut the fuck up. Don't worry about why it's up there. Just shut the fuck up. No, 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 no. Don't dare ask him why not. Go hit up St. Jude. That's fine. See, this is the thing that I know. You asked that, I told you why, and this is what you hit back with, because you're inadequate. I don't care. The two are not mutually inclusive or exclusive. You asked why, I told you why, but your comeback is I'm not sending my money. I'm going to send it to St. Jude. Send it wherever you want to. Send it wherever you want to, Chris. The people that I help in my community are going to be helped if I have to put a shiesty on and come rob your ass. I don't care. Because if I wanted your money, I would take your money. You asked why I was up there. I asked were you sending after I answered your question. I asked if you were sending after I answered your question. St. Jude's not in here. Go be performative. Go be performative on a St. Jude live. because that's all you are, a performative. Because you up here capping for the rich at the expense of the poor. Now, or go back to the lives you're used to, Chris. I know you stumbled into a live, saw a black man up here, saw you talking about the bill, and thought, well, maybe I can do the same things I do in other lives with those people who believe you have a right to speak. You have a right to speak somewhere else. Was it wrong to ask why your cash app was displayed? If you wasn't gonna do anything about it, and if you're going to come back with I'm not sending my money, I'm sending it to St. Jude, then it wasn't wrong. I didn't say anything was wrong until you said what you said in response to it. You could have said, "Oh, that's good." Um, I didn't. You said, "I'm not sending my money. I'll send it to St. Jude." So I responded to that. Christopher, Christopher, Christopher. Like I said, it shows. It shows where you're used to being. It shows what you're used to thinking. I'm not your Negro. I'm not your Negro. I'm not that Negro. I'm not your Negro. Nope. I give money to St. Jude. They don't give you anything extra. I give money to St. Jude. They don't give you anything extra. Not sure where to go with. I'm not sure what extra they need to give you. Like I say, I'm not bashing St. Jude at all. Give, but I'm just trying to see the parallels. He's holding a dead fish in his profile picture. Everything you need to know. That should tell you everything he needs to know. Yeah. So back to this. No parts, no pats on the back. You just give for the right. Okay, I understand that. Now I understand that. Exactly. Exactly. I believe that too. I believe that too. If you're not performative, you just do. You just do. Yeah, I believe. Yes. Because people will donate to me and I will do what I do and tell them if you're expecting a pat on the back, you're in the wrong place. The pat on the back is that we're helping people eat. If that's not edification, if you need me to come on here, I don't know. But I might give you a pat on the back. I'm not gonna make the people who I might give you a pat on the back that makes you feel good to help me feed people. I might give you a pat on the back if you need that, but I'm not gonna be giving it to you from them. I'm just gonna be giving it to you to assuage your need, your ego. I could sage your ego if you help me feed those who happen to be homeless or help students get supplies. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. It's better than me beating you up and taking it from you. I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, if I need to pat some of y'all on the back to, yeah, did y'all get patted on? Did they get patted on the back for donating to a bus that didn't exist? What is understood does have to be explained. It's how I feel. No, I'm telling you, Kenny, I agree with you. No, Kenny, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying for performative reasons, there are some people that, yeah, I would do that if that would help to help those who happen to be homeless. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think you should need a pat on the back. But if you need a pat on the back and me patting you on the back for helping those who happen to be homeless, yeah, I'll do that. It doesn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. Not you particularly, Kenny. Don't internalize it. I was just making a statement about maybe that's why we can't raise enough money to help those who happen to be homeless on a regular basis because I don't pat people on the back. I don't know. Well, I'll look into it. But and we just beginning to get into the horrors that are in this almost 1,000 page bill. When we just get to those programs being cut, or the renewable energies, or the tax breaks for the wealthy at the expense of cutting safety net programs, and then you have people argue, well, we're going to get 14 million people off of Medicaid and Medicare. See, where do y'all come up with these numbers at? See, if you, this is another thing. So where do y'all come up with these? No one has ever told me where they come up with these numbers for. You notice it's the same number of people they say are in this country illegally in the last year. And I'm like, since Joe Biden was in office, 14, 15 million. That's all they say. And they say, so you telling me there's 14 million people on Medicaid and Medicare that you all have that you know that are on there. This thing gets me. You know they're on there, and they wasn't cut as part of the fact that they don't have access. They can't have access to this country legal. If you're undocumented, let's get to the documented part of undocumented. If you're undocumented, you don't have a social security card. If you're undocumented, you don't have any documents to prove your entitlement to Medicaid or Medicare. And if you are actually somebody who works with Medicaid and Medicare, you know, like I do, one of the things you have to do is you have to document your access to it. It's just not given to it. It's just not given to you. Food banks are, y'all know what I mean? Let me show you. And I think we pulled this up last night. Yeah, yeah. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. I gotta. At our last conversation, I don't even know if I want to say blow it up, but I gotta blow it up. All right, Medicaid versus Medicare, and this is why I say, if you know one of you smart people in here, who can explain to me how undocumented people are getting on this, I have some people. If it's that easy to get people on Medicaid, Medicare, then hey, I've been doing this wrong. I've been doing this wrong. This guy's an expert on a 1,000 page bill that has not even passed yet because I read it. You know, because I read it. That's what people do who read. That's what people who read. That's what they do. They read bills. And an expert. Yeah, yeah. That's what you do. That's what you do. I understand. See, I understand. I understand that it's hard for you. It's hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Yeah, I understand. Um, it's hard for you to understand that people read and you're used to that. Oh, I can't believe that the man with 1,000 books behind him actually reads like this. I read every Sunday. Yeah, yeah. We read every Sunday. Dun dun dun. Let's do this way. How should we do this? Mm, bum 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 bum. Should we do it this way? Dun. See, there are websites. There are websites with PDFs on it that you go and you read the PDF. Dun dun dun. Where's my? And it's not that it's not that I have to be an expert on it. I can just read it and tell you what it says in it. And the section I'm talking about are the cuts that are being made to these divisions. Oh, you see, are you white, Christopher? Christopher, are you white? I'm just curious. I will go out on a limb and say you're white, Christopher. Are you white, Christopher? Read a bill that even has last minute changes go work. Because they also will take in the last minute changes they would have made. But see, that's the thing, they didn't make any last minute changes. They had a list of amendments during the votorama that I could also tell you some of those amendments, even though they were stupid, they were in this min because I listen to and watch C-SPAN. Even when I'm at work helping those who happen to be homeless, I have C-SPAN playing in my ear, and we will watch and listen to the 30 hours of Democrats introducing stupid amendments that were not going to pass, but were telling me a lot in the way they were thinking. They were adding amendments or making motions for amendments. Do you know how the Senate works? Just curious. So, yeah, you read the bill and then you go back and because, I don't have an eighth grade education. I actually have college degrees. So actually, with eidetic memory, I can also read fast. And you read it because it's a bill. It's not the plot line of your latest inbred fantasy movie. It actually is a bill, and they're structured in the same ways. They talk about things, you read it, and now, did I have time to read all the footnotes that go with each passage of the bill that they introduce? No, because they didn't do many of them. There's not many of them in there. They talk about what the bill is for, what sections are, they break it down, and then you move on. Not to mention these bills will define everything. Yeah, the changes with Alaska specifically have to deal with the fact that they get a moratorium on the applications of Medicare and Medicaid cuts to their state. They get a moratorium on that. I think it was for 10 months. 10 months. So, and they're going to go back after that. And 10 months is an interesting period of time because it puts it after the fact that in September we're going to be watching a CR have to be passed. I was hoping this bill didn't get passed. I was hoping that, but doom, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, might not pass the House. We could hope. But your idea is rooted in your ability to I'm not to believe, like even your idealism is believed and rooted in the fact that you believe that I don't come here. See, people in my comment section are laughing at you because we come here and I will put the bill up. I will put the PDF of the bill up, just like you see this Medicaid thing. I will put the bill up and we will talk about it. And I will go through sections of it in real time. But I understand, Christopher, you're used to your host just smoking marijuana. Mm. Reese, how did you let me say that on the radio? You're used to your host only doing things like consuming medicinal and psychotropics, doing the live and not know what they're talking about. Christopher, I'm not in that league. I'm not in that league. It looks like I can pull. You know why I can pull this up so quickly under me is because we talked about it last night. Oh, you know what else I can pull up real quick? Show you what we can pull up right quick. I can pull this up right quick because we talked about that. That's the 14th Amendment. I can pull this up right quick because we talked about the verses in this. I can pull up this right quick, and that's a satellite image of Iran of the field that we were supposedly bombed. Yeah, we can do this all day. We can do this all day. I can even pull this up right quick because this is something that I also talked about when I
Thank you. New at 11, D.C.
your
police
fact,
confirming
your
that posts on social
inferences
media about several missing
all
persons
day.
cases in the district are inaccurate. This comes after several
And this is just
concerns
the
were expressed
ones I
online
haven't
after
moved
videos were
over
posted.
to my
Or
other
Alexis
computer
Wainwright
yet.
shares more on what police are saying,
All
but
day.
also how this is a
Did I log
lesson
off?
for those who
No.
believe
Do I need to
everything
log
they
off?
see
Am I going about to
online.
start cussing?
We've had several people reach out
I'm
with
about to start
concerns, but also
cussing.
frustration about us
Good
not
night,
covering
GCPR.
several young
My
women being
moderators
reported
have told
missing in
me it's
recent
time to
days.
log off the
But
radio
police
show
say
because
it's
they see
simply not
I
true.
might be
And
heading
now we are
into
shifting the focus on how two
territory
local
where I'll be
organizations
getting an
continue to work
FCC
to help
violation.
families of missing people here in
GCPR,
the
this your guy
community.
TNathan.
It's
I'm
very
signing
hurtful because
off.
then you know
Up,
you
too
have
late.
doubters, you have
Your
people who
live is
think,
not
oh, this
eligible
is
for
another hoax.
recommendation and
Several
restriction
videos were
because
posted online
primarily directs
discussing an
people off
increase
the
in
app.
several young
I can't
women
even
being
say
reported missing
GCPR.
in recent days. But
Goodness.
DC police
All
confirmed
right.
Saturday that those
Um,
claims are not
GCPR.
true.
We have not
This your
seen an
guy T
uptick in
Nathan. I'll be back
cases
tomorrow
or
at the same
reports from families or
Wakanda
from the
station
community,
at the same
but
Black
we
Panther
are
time.
keeping an eye
And
on the issue.
thank you
But
for your
now,
emails.
It
I am
takes away
going
from the
through them,
work, but
and
I don't
as
get
always, I will
frustrated
have
because
them
I don't know
answered
what that
by
person's
next
intent
week.
was. This
All
is
right.
just a time
Peace.
I think
Now,
was to
you wanna
educate.
if you have a
nonprofit organizations are
if
using
you
this
have a
moment to
VPN
focus on the
and you
work
want
that
to listen
is
to me
being
on
done.
TikTok
We
or
use this as
the
an
other one,
opportunity to
please feel
continue the
free to join us for the
conversation
rest of the conversation.
around missing
I'm
people
out of
of
here.
color.
Henderson Long
All
founded
right,
DC
I've
Missing
logged off
Voices, a
there.
nonprofit and private
I have.
detectives agency
I guess
working
I
to
need to
help bring
stop
more
this
resources to the community and
before I
help
get in
families
trouble.
find their
I'm gonna stop that. What's my reason for appeal? The notice is unclear. I'm not sure why I got this restriction. Should I try that one? My live does not contain the content mentioned in this notice. Should I try that one? Should I try TikTok should allow content like mine? Or I understand the decision, but the restriction is too strict, or something else? What am I going for this week? What am I going for this week? Unclear? All right. The chief of security say go for unclear and submit. Yeah, but yeah, we're used. We're black men in America. We're used to all of this. We're used to all of your explanations. We're used to all of your attempts. We're used to all of your critique of black intelligence because when you have none, you always critique others. You believe somebody has to, can't read. I've read 1,000 page. Oh, my library looks a mess. I've read 1,000 page books on a Sunday. On a Sunday. I was modding on his other page while I was washing. Now I'm here. Is the other page okay, Jay? Everything okay over there? Everything okay? I know on that page you can actually see what I pull up on the screen when I be talking about these things. Okay, Tim. What's up, Timmy? So that is the reality of it. Like I say, you all notice that whenever they cannot win, when they can't win in the intellectual department, it always become an indictment of something that has nothing to do with the oh, you can't read it. If man Palabelle, if only you knew. Y'all notice that instead of being able to combat what I say intellectually and with proof, it always becomes something else. That's why I just started at homonyms. That's why I just cuss these bitches out and keep going because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the conversation that you can run intellectual rings around their weak ass points. Um, appeal not reproved. It says my appeal is not approved. I don't. It doesn't even tell me why, but it is what it is. We expect that. We expect that. Let's see. Let's try this one. Is this time hit appeal, and this time we're gonna say my live does not contain. Let's try that. My live does not contain the mentioned notice. That's what we're going to try. We're going to try that one in this appeal. Well, why would they send me two appeals on the same thing? Yeah. If y'all noticed in my videos that I be posting, I've taken to post the reason that they're telling me that those videos are restricted from certain audiences. I post them in the video, and mostly 90% of the videos I post, they come with they're restricted. That's why I never can join the that creator fund because they found a way to tell me, yeah, this video does not meet the criteria, or this video is strict, and they tell me restrictions. And I ask people, I say, did you see any of the things they mentioned in this restriction in the video? I think I think it's just the color of my skin. I think it's just the color of my skin. I would like to know who sits in judgment on themselves. Their AI is like, okay, it's just like Chris. If the color of his skin and the intellects of his words are in a certain sync, then we're gonna just say it's a violation of our community guidelines. It's the color of me and your skin, and it's just not that. It's the intellect that goes with it, because how do you, you had, like I told you, they got me one day saying that I was unrobed in my video. How many of y'all? Now, don't get me wrong. There's some videos that I've made, like I've been talking in the shower, or I might do it, but it's never below the chest or anything like that. But I've seen people with their whole schlong out on TikTok. Nothing. Nothing. I believe if I'm gonna try an experiment. I'm just gonna make a video where I even tried using trick. I mean, I made a video with Bella, and we were using that trend about you get down and bark like dog, and she was asking for sausage. If you've seen the video, you know what I mean. Even that video, he got a restriction. I'm like, even it was far from D'Angelo. Yeah, if I told you what I saw a certain creator doing online the other day, you wouldn't believe me. That live what? Okay, Tay, write me a script. We'll get to filming. Reese, what? And you didn't text me? Liv was up fire. Doing what? I'm scared to ask. I'm scared to ask. But anyway, I guess you'll text me. So tomorrow night we'll see if we have a verdict in the Sean Combs case that we can laugh about. Um, we will see if the House gets Mike Johnson said he's going to get the one big beautiful bill to the president's desk by Friday Thursday. He said Thursday. We'll see. There was literally somebody having smex and foreplay online, getting her what? I couldn't even read any more of that. No, I can't. I couldn't. No, I couldn't even read any more of that. Even and Reese tried to write it in a way that she knows I read her text when I'm online. She tried to write it in a way that I think she was like, even if he reads this, it should be safe. It's not safe. It's still not safe. Uh, I'm a tr- let's see. I got a violation on my Instagram all because of my chest. I'm like, yes, really. Yes, yes. I'm trying to figure out a way to use your chest to raise donations or for a bus. I think we could use. I think if we, I told you all, there's several of you all. I think if I could get together and get on the live and just a little more plunging, that we should be able to raise money for a meal each month. Yeah, I'm just saying, sometimes you got to take one for the team. Got to take one. I got to give people pats on the back, and you all got to give people pats on the back. All right. So this is what I won't be there. You'll be there. Yeah, you don't leave me by myself. There was literally somebody having smex and for the other word after it online, getting her getting her dinner ate, and eating somebody else's dinner on live. And you could see everything very clearly. The live was up for hours. It did not get taken down. Did I do a good job? I'm not saying, nope, not saying that word. I'll make sure Libra and 50 is there. Yep, you'll be there, Jay. You don't have a choice. You and his nephews do not get the chicken out. We have to take ones for the team. We're raising money for a cause. Yep, you can't chicken out, nephew. Sorry, you signed up for it. Not my fault that flat as pancakes. There was a whole panel showing off their rod-shaped toys, and they said no violations. Yep, but if you mention another platform or anything, there's another video right now. I'm going around on TikTok of some girl, white girl, getting banged by some. Well, BP and ICE will have a bigger budget, and the prisons. Yep, the military, increased military spending, um, increased funding to the deportation rules. But did you see? Thank you, Kenny, for saying that because you reminded me of something else I want to talk about before I leave, and it's just fair. And this is so problematic. So somehow within 8 days, no, how long did it take? 6 days. In 6 days. Did you see the alligator Alcatraz that they built in Florida to house 3,000 to 5,000? If it says it's built to design to house 3,000 or 5,000 detainees for deportation, I don't know. I don't know where it happened. I dropped the whole syllable out the word. You know there's going to be like 6 or 7,000 in there. But did you see where Governor DeSantis say it's only going to cost to run this $450 million a year? $450 million a year to to. I was like, are we for real? Are we for real? Are we talking about cutting Medicaid programs and all these programs, and you're going to say you're gonna and then and that does not even get to the part that they're commending the fact or they're celebrating the fact that it's surrounded by a swamp that has alligators and pythons in it. Now, I thought that was stupid. It's a little stupid. I don't understand people watch movies like what's the movie with the giant snake and python that had Jennifer Lopez in it. What was the name of that? And they had the orchid one. They had several of them, but the one I remember, her and Ice Cube, those whose name should not be mentioned. Not Ice Cube. Was it Ice Cube? No, it wasn't Ice Cube. Yeah, it was Ice Cube. It was Ice Cube. Anaconda. Anaconda. Right? And I understand people watch that and they got this idea of that giant snakes like that live in the swamps of Florida, right? Yeah, I'm not. Anaconda is not, is not a viper. It's a constrictor, and it's not really going to attack humans if it can help it, unless it's way bigger than humans. So when they were talking about alligators and anacondas are going to be, yeah, alligators are a problem. Yeah, they are a problem if they're hungry. But there's the idea that they were just celebrating that people could get ate up by animals in the surrounding area. I had an anaconda, and I don't want to. Yeah, right, pirate. Good one, pirate. It's a concentration camp, pure and simple. That's thinking. Right. It's a. I prefer my snakes on a anyway on a plane, but it's the idea that these people are celebrating this that shows you the depravity of what we're dealing with. Shows us the depravity of what we're dealing with. Let that sink in. And y'all say hello. Y'all say hello to my co-host. Yeah, co-host back there, co-hosting. She co-hosting. All right, you all. You all have a good night. Let me first cut off. Um, let me sign off of the Tubi.